This is not a reading vlog. This is not a reading wrap up. This is a midpoint review slash thoughts slash predictions slash feelings about a book that I'm reading, which is Blue Graffiti by Callahan Scogman. And if you don't know who Callahan Scogman is, he starred in Netflix's Shadow and Bone for 2 seasons until Netflix decided to cancel the show for reasons I have yet to understand and Netflix has yet to disclose to us. They're probably stupid reasons though. Why would you cancel the show? See, it still gets me upset. But you know what? I digress. I digress. Anyways, the book is about this man named Cash, and it's set in kind of Midwestern America, and it follows Cash's life and stuff like that. And so far, I would say it's really, really, really good. I kind of knew going into it that I was going to, at the very least, like this book, even a little, because hearing Callahan Scogman talk, and I've read some of his poetry, and I knew if it was going to be anything like his poetry, I was going to love it, because his poetry is very, very eloquent and beautiful, and it's eloquent and beautiful, but it's accessible at the same time. I don't think he uses overly flowery language, which I personally love. Flower. That's really hard to say. Flowery language. Flowery language. Anyways, I personally love flowery language. Purple prose. I think that's what is the correct term for that. I personally love purple prose, but um, I love also when writers are able to balance purple prose with accessibility to people who might not be familiar with purple prose. And so far, the book has been so enjoyable. I love it. Um, and it's only getting better. I was enjoying it the first couple of chapters, and then I was kind of emotionally invested by like the third or fourth chapter. I was like, what's gonna happen? It's one of the books that I am in a kind of a reading slump right now, but when I'm reading it, I don't want to put it down. And that is kind of the reason why I don't want to finish it, is because I know that when I pick this book up to read it, I'm probably going to be sitting for 3 or 4 hours to finish this novel. Um, and it's like I have to kind of get on with my life. I have to do things. I have to go to work, you know. I have to clean my room. I have to do other stuff. I can't just sit for 3 hours and read the novel. Um, but it's so good. And I just kind of wanted to have like a midway discussion about the novel and stuff like that. I do this on my own by myself, and then I kind of realized I sound kind of crazy just sitting in my room talking to myself, so I decided to film it. And excuse me, and I thought that would make me seem a little bit less insane if I filmed it. But writing style, this book has beautiful writing. Like, the atmosphere is so clear. I've never read a book with such a clear atmosphere of where there's not so much of an emphasis on when, but where, um, and like, mm, what's the word I'm looking for? Where and I don't know. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but there's such a very clear atmosphere. You can, I feel like reading the even just the first page, I felt like I could smell exactly where the character was. Like it felt like I can envision that the places that he writes about in this novel, they smell of like old dust and beer, but also perhaps in some way like fried chicken and just like warm hearty meals, and um, there's just vague kind of country music in the background, not like overpowering, but just like kind of vague, like maybe on a radio, somebody's radio is always going to be playing country music. That's kind of the world that I envision this novel set in, and it's just beautifully written. um, I love the dialogue. The dialogue feels very natural. um, I have a big thing with dialogue in books in that I don't like it. If I could read a book that doesn't have any dialogue, I would love that. Um, but I love the dialogue in this. It felt very natural. It flows. It's easy to read. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just really like it. Um, and then, so writing, what else? Thoughts. I kind of already surmised my thoughts in the rave reviews that I've kind of been saying. Um, Predictions. Right now, spoilers if you don't want to know what's happening in the novel, but right now, Cash and his friends are kind of trying to convince their other friend to sell the bar, and I think the crux of the story kind of revolves around Cash meeting, not really meeting, seeing this woman that he kind of falls in love at first sight with, and that kind of is the catalyst to a lot of other events. So right now, they are, like I said, convincing their friend to sell his bar, tavern, bar or tavern. I interchanged the words, but they're trying to convince the friend to sell his bar so that they can open their own and kind of start their journey. Now I am not quite halfway. I don't think that they're going to get the bar. What I predict is going to happen is they're not going to get the bar, and Cash is going to leave. I feel like he's gonna leave. I feel like he's gonna leave the town, which is Johnston. I believe that's the name. Yeah, Johnston is the name of the town. I feel like the main character is gonna leave the main town. I feel like he's gonna go and explore what the world has to offer, and then maybe at the end of the novel, he ultimately realizes that his hometown is exactly where he wants to be, or maybe he realizes that his hometown was what he needed in his childhood, but maybe the other, like the wide world, is more to his taste, because I think that's an interesting story as well. I don't know if he's gonna get the girl. I think he will, but maybe it's that thing of he gets the girl for a short time and then ultimately loses the girl because of something he did, or maybe it's the thing of he has to choose between the girl and the hometown, and either the girl is the reason that he leaves or the girl is the reason that he ultimately chooses to stay. I'm not quite sure. I have lots of predictions that go into kind of a spider web of conspiracies and theories, but I don't know. It's fun to kind of figure out. I think one of my favorite things about the book actually is the motif of blue. Because at first when I heard the title Blue Graffiti, I was like, wow, that's very cool. But why blue? And I was looking through the novel to try and find why it's titled Blue Graffiti, and maybe I haven't gotten to this part specifically where he talks about like blue graffiti specifically, but just so far there have been moments um, in this novel of joy, pain, sadness, laughter that have been tinged with moments of blue. I think there's a moment in kind of the beginning of the novel where he's laughing with his mother, and it's a memory because his mother has passed away, I believe, and it's a memory of his mother, and she's wearing blue overalls, and that's a moment of like memory and reflection of and sadness. And then there's a moment where they tip the kind of portable toilet onto this guy, and he's covered in that kind of blue septic um, wash type thing, and it's a moment of comedy. And so I think I'm not sure, but I think that blue graffiti is kind of like these moments of blue are the graffiti on his life that kind of inform who he is. You know, these moments of sadness, pain, humor, memories kind of inform who Cash is, and that is blue graffiti. It's blue graffiti on his life. I think that's why he titled the book that. I'm not entirely sure. I did get the chance to ask him about the blue metaphor, and he did say that nobody else had asked him that question, which I thought was very strange because it's very. I think personally prevalent, but then again, I've also been prone to notice motifs that others might otherwise not have been there. I am the person that's like, the color of the curtains was red because it symbolizes this, and another author might have been like, oh, okay, well that's not. I just chose the curtains to be red because red was a cool color. But I was happy to know that that was actually like a purposeful thing. That was not just me being crazy. I asked him when he came to my city. He did an author event, and so I asked him the like why was it titled like Blue Graffiti, and then I asked him why blue, and he said just kind of looking over the moments of like both Cash's life and his own life. He said that he's kind of always known that it was gonna be blue. And thinking about it, I think the same. There's not really any other color that I think would fit with this book. It's not a red book. I think if it was a red book, there would need to be more elements of betrayal, elements of kind of darker emotions. I feel like blue is kind of a good middle ground color because blue can turn on a dime. It can be really, really sad. It can be melancholy. It can be midnight blue. It can be sad. But then it can also be, pastel blue, baby blue. It can kind of symbolize joy and happiness. And so I think it's absolutely correct that there's no other color that could really surmise the theme of this novel. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts so far. I'm currently on chapter 24, and I'm excited to finish the novel, and I'm excited to learn what happens towards the end. Um, but those are just some of my thoughts that I had on the novel so far, and I apologize if I rambled. I am prone to rambling. I'm also prone to not making eye contact. I apologize. But yes, I would highly recommend it. Blue Graffiti by Callahan Scogman. I got my copy signed, which, if I think about it, makes me want to scream. It's signed. He's got beautiful handwriting too. But anyways, Blue Graffiti. Go order it if you can. And or listen to it, because I understand that he has the audiobook out and he actually reads the audiobook, which I love when authors read their audiobooks. I understand a lot of authors might not be able to read their audiobooks, but if at all possible, I enjoy it when authors can read their own books, because I think nobody but the author is going to really understand how characters meant to speak, how lines meant to be delivered. And Callahan being an actor as well, I feel he has a good grasp on that sort of thing. But he's also just a fascinating person. I think I'm impressed by the way that Callahan Scogman manages both an incredibly public and incredibly private life. I love celebrities where you feel as though you know them because of something that they've released, but you also don't know them at all, and they maintain that privacy. I love when celebrities maintain privacy in some level. It's so admirable. And but then again, I think I have an issue with the culture of celebrity. I think meeting Callan Scogman, at the author event, I kind of lost the illusion of, oh, he's a celebrity, and it was more of just like, no, he's a fellow writer whose dream has been realized, and there's a personable quality to his way of speaking and his way of being. I mean, he showed up to the talk in joggers and a t-shirt, and it was so casual, and it just felt like you were having a conversation as opposed to, some great big golden star being like, this is what you need to do and this is what you do. It's just somebody who loves writing talking about their craft and being passionate, and I think that more than anything makes me like the book even more, that he's not this person who's like, I'm gonna lord it over everybody that I did this and you guys haven't done anything. He's very much like, hey, I made this thing and I like it, and if you like it, then I think that's really, really great. Um, Very humble person, very kind. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he does next and to read future novels, future poetry. Um, I feel as though I've been rambling for a little bit, so I shall stop now. But thank you for listening to kind of my midpoint talk, and yeah, have a blessed day, night, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Bye.